We telling me you wanna make memories, you wanna eat mangoes under a tree and build a couple zoots, get hella deep. Feel my energy, where are you at mentally? My intuition is telling me go with the feelings, that's true unintentionally. Be a friend to me, I listen when you tell me stories about what you've done been through in life. Look what you did in your life, when you reminisce, look what you did in your time. I'm just reserved, never shy. Love when you speak from the heart, love when you smile with your eyes. There's nothing here to disguise. We know the meaning of trust, cause we never built this on lies. Here there's nobody but us, and it's only you on my mind. They might mistake this for loss, but they'll never get how we vibe. They'll never get how we vibe. They'll never get how we vibe.
Yes, thank you all for tuning in with me. Yes, we finally made it here to Monday. Yes, are we here for Monday, guys? Yes, we're making it through these weeks. Hope you all had a good weekend. And, we're almost here in the middle of May, guys. Yes. And, I want to thank you all for tuning in with me today. I am your host, Regina. Yes. And you are listening to the Creative Lips Podcast. Yes, thank you all for the new listeners and all of the active listeners. Thank you all for tuning in with me today, guys. So, this is just going to be just a little bit short of Are We Here For It Mondays, because I don't have much to talk about, yes. I mean, even though there is a lot of shit to talk about. Especially all the shit that's going on in the government here in America. Yes, it's a lot of crazy shit going on with that. I can spend hours and hours and time of my time. I'm going to reclaim my time, talking about that shit. But however, today I am not.
So fucking motherfucker.
I am not. I'm not going to spend my time today, guys. But however, I'm going to talk about some topics today. Some things, that has been in the news and things that I am interested in talking about today on my podcast. So you are now listening to episode 40. Yes, this is episode 40, guys. Yes, on the Creative Lips Podcast. So now, before I start talking about, all of the, topics, things that went viral, stuff that I, want to talk about on my podcast, I always like to do, just to give self-affirmation, just to uplift you guys. And also it helps to uplift myself too as well, giving out self-affirmations. But however, I just want to, just say that, everyone that is listening to this podcast, yes, you who are listening to this podcast, this episode, I pray and hope that whatever you are going through, yes, only you know what you are going through. Only you know what obstacles that is faced before you. And in these trying times right now and how things are tough right now, I hope and pray that you will make it through, guys. Yes, you will make it through. Victorious in a phenomenal way and in a way that you want it made out to be, and it's going to work in your favor. Yes, it will. Yes, it will work in your favor in the end. So just stick in there and hang in, guys. Hang in there, and everything will work out, for you all in the end. All right, guys. All right, so now let's get into the first topic. The first topic that I want to talk about today is Kobe Bryant. Yes, Kobe Bryant. So now there was a post-mortem release. A post-mortem release on Kobe Bryant's helicopter crash. Yes, it was a release on it in regards to, how they were killed, unfortunately, in a tragic death. So it was a post-mortem examination of the helicopter crash. It was a blunt force trauma as the cause of death for all of the 9 victims. Now, that's including Kobe Bryant, all of them. So, they're saying that, that's what happened. So now it was a 180-page report also found that the pilot, 50-year-old Ara Zobian, tested negative for drugs and alcohol. The cause of the January 26 crash, which occurred in California, in Calabasas, California, amid the heavy fog, is still being investigated. Bryant's 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, was with him also on board the helicopter crash. And it was said, that, again, that, it has ruled out the blunt force trauma as the cause of death for all of the 9 victims. The passengers, which included, now for those who do not know, that it was 2 of Gianna's basketball teammates, their relatives, and a coach, were on their way to a tournament in Thousand Oaks, where Bryant has been set to coach. He's been set to coach Gianna's team, there in Thousand Oaks, California. So, that's very sad, that they have not yet, found the cause of death as to how did they all die tragically in that helicopter crash. I just think that's, but it just doesn't, it really just doesn't surprise me. It really doesn't surprise me. And all of them, all of the victims that was in the helicopter crash, of course, they all died alongside the Bryants. And of course, the pilot as well, when the helicopter crashed into the hill just north of Los Angeles, and this happened in Calabasas. On January the 26th, the cause of death for all the 9 victims of, just like I said, it was ruled out the blunt trauma, because that's what they were saying, after the examination of the bodies. The manner of death was certified as an accident. So that's what they're saying. They're basically ruling it out as an accident. So the results of the post-mortem examination were posted on the website of the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner Coroner Office on Friday. Yes, this past Friday. Bryant, a 5-time NBA player. Of course, he played, for those who who do not know, who are under a rock, a lot of people who do not know about, Kobe Bryant. He used to play with the LA Lakers throughout his career. And of course, it is considered, in my book, he is considered one of the greatest players in, the game's history. He's one of the greatest game players in, game's history. You know what I'm saying? That's just my opinion. Now, y'all can, beg to differ. There are so many people out there that beg to differ. But however, he is on my top, one of the greatest players that played the game in history. He retired. For those who do not know, Kobe Bryant retired in April 2016 after a 20-year career with the LA Lakers. Yes, he did. Now, I don't know if you all are familiar, because Vanessa Bryant had also filed a lawsuit against the company that operated the helicopter. And, it also alleges that the pilot who died in the crash did not assess weather data before taking off. Separately, earlier this year, the sheriff of Los Angeles County said 8 deputies had admitted possessing graphic photos of the crash site. And they were going to sell these photos. They were going to actually sell these photos just to gain some type of coin, you know what I'm saying, off of Kobe Bryant's death. You know what I'm saying? Like,
So fucking wonderful.
That doesn't surprise me. It really doesn't surprise me that, that they would even try to even do it. I wouldn't be surprised that they took pictures of the body, of course, and they try to leak those out too as well. You know what I'm saying? But, of course, this is still, being investigated, the helicopter crash. And, and of course, they went on to say, of course, the Los Angeles County went on to say that they will conduct, what it is, in fact, that, these photos, in fact, were taken, and, of course, they were distributed out to these deputies, and they're going to conduct an investigation to see, in fact, if these photos were leaked. You know what I'm saying? So, we will see, and, we will see. We will see. So now going on to the next topic, on the lighter note that I want to talk about, I want to talk about Nicki Minaj, and I also want to talk about Beyonce. Yes, I want to talk about them. So Beyonce, Doja Cat, Megan Thee Stallion, and Nicki Minaj made Billboard history. Yes, they made Billboard history, guys. Yes, they did. Now, for all of you Bae stands and Nicki stand and Doja stand and Mega stands, you know what I'm saying? For all of y'all out there, of course, this is big news to y'all. Of course, now as we all come down from last weekend with Erykah Badu and Jill Scott. Yes. That was the debut thing. That was the best thing. I'm telling you, that was the best history making thing that I could have ever watched. On social media. You know what I'm saying? I can honestly say that was the best, out of anything this whole year, everything that has been going on. I can honestly say that really uplift my spirits. It really, really did. And, and I really enjoyed watching those two ladies, watching it. And of course, it led to, tripling the two artists' streaming numbers too as well. You know what I'm saying? And with Versus TV has, just like I said, they are being put on the map now. Now, they are the go-to for, if you want to see some type of battle or some type of, paying homage to artists, the greats, good music when music was good. You know what I'm saying? Wherever you like. And I know this past weekend they had Nelly and Ludacris. You know what I'm saying? So I just thought that was dope as well. I didn't really get to watch them, most of it because I was doing a lot of stuff around the house, around my place, trying to get things, straight. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get myself organized. Because I'm trying to stay on top of a lot of things. But however, I did, I am going to catch, not did, but I am going to catch a recap of it. I'm going to try to find it and, and maybe talk about it again. Talk about, Ludacris and Nelly. And, and just like them, between both of them, they both have a lot of good hits. And, I know that it was very enjoyable and good to watch. And, just like I always say, it's definitely good for the culture. You know what I'm saying? Definitely good for the culture. Good for all of us to watch. But however, getting back into the ladies. Yes, the ladies. The ladies have, just like I said, they have made history, because they are occupying the top 2 spots on the Billboard Hot 100 charts.
So fucking wonderful.
Yes, they are occupying those 2 spots for Say So and of course for, Savage. Yes, they are occupying both of those spots. You know what I'm saying? And, I think that's phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? I just think that is so phenomenal for them to be doing that, And I say that Doja Cat. Now, Doja Cat, a lot of people, let's talk a little bit about Doja Cat. Now, a lot of people have been saying that, she is forever going to be, this underground artist. A lot of people have been saying that about her, that she is, she's not going to, rise to the top. You know what I'm saying? But look at her now. You know what I'm saying? Look at her now. And, just like I always say about her, I always said that, I love Doja Cat. I love Doja Cat. And the only reason why, now, this is not the only reason why, but this is why I love Doja Cat. Okay. Doja Cat is such a dope ass artist. It's because she writes her own material. You understand? And she's also a ghostwriter for people as well, from what I found out too. You know what I'm saying? So, and she also makes her own beats. You know what I'm saying? And she plays instruments as well. She's very animated. She's a dope ass artist. And she's finally getting the recognition that she deserves. She's finally getting put up on the map. Now, you get some people who probably won't agree with me on that. You know what I'm saying? But however, she's getting put on the map. She's getting put on the map right alongside with Beyonce and Nicki Minaj. You know what I'm saying? And, I think that is phenomenal for an artist like herself to do that. She deserves it. She deserves it. And Megan Thee Stallion deserves it as well. You know what I'm saying? Megan Thee Stallion, she deserves it as well. I just think that, it shows that, these black women are getting their coins. You know what I'm saying? These black women are getting their damn coins. And their accolades too, as well. You know what I'm saying? They're getting it. They're getting what they deserve. And of course, Beyonce, she's up there, but it was always just Beyonce. It was always just Beyonce getting her accolades and her coins. Now these other ladies are now getting it, especially Nicki Minaj too as well. You know what I'm saying? Especially Nicki Minaj too. She's finally getting it. She finally got her number one. You know what I'm saying? Yes, she finally got her number one, and I'm happy for her. I'm happy that she got it. And I would love to see more from these ladies, doing collaboration. It would be, it would be so dope if all of them do a song together, like all of them. It would be Beyonce, Megan Thee Stallion, Doja Cat, and Nicki Minaj.
So fucking wonderful.
Yo, that would be bananas. Now, you know how bananas that would be? That would be so phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? That would be so dope if all of them do a song together, like on one. I would love to see that if they was to do something like that. You know what I'm saying? And I think that we are going to see more. We're going to see more. And despite now this is from Billboard. Now they said despite of the tight race for the number one on the latest Billboard Hot 100 between Doja Cat Say So featuring Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion Savage featuring Beyonce, all four women combined for a share of history. This week marks the first in which four black female solo artists occupy that chart's top two sets. You know what I'm saying? And it's just so freaking dope, yo. I just think that is so dope, And they also went on to say that before this week, the last time that multiple black women were infused, on the top two slots were more than a decade ago. More than a decade ago, guys. Again, with Beyonce in the mix on the chart dated January the 3rd, 2009, with her hit song, Single Ladies. And it clocked in its second of 4 weeks on the number one, while former leader T.I. Live Your Life featuring Rihanna ranked at number 2. So there you have it, guys. There you have it. These ladies, have accomplished many things. They have accomplished many things. And, especially, Megan Thee Stallion, when she was coming out, man, she just kept on, putting them out there, man. She just kept on putting them out there, putting out the hits and, and these finally stuck. You know what I'm saying? She finally, is, making her own lane, despite of all the controversy that Megan Thee Stallion has been going through with, her record label. She's going through, all of those things that she's going through with, her record label. But however, I feel as though that, we're going to see more. We're going to see more of these ladies in the future. And, while this latest accomplishment, may be, old for Queen Bey, who has charted on the Billboard charts, 100 every year since 1997. Of course, she charted on the charts with Destiny's Child, but it makes the first number one on the chart for, just like I said, for Nicki Minaj, and the highest positions achieved by Doja Cat and Megan Thee Stallion, who are, of course, newcomers to the industry. and of course, they celebrated their wins, by taking to social media, by saying such. I know Megan Thee Stallion, she had also tweeted about it. She said, "I am happy to be a part of history that was made, today," when they posted it on May the 11th. And Nicki Minaj also went on to say that, "I love you so much. OMG, Barbs, you're just with the smiley face emoji. You just never cease to amaze me. You never stop making me proud. I saw everything you guys did this past week. Barbs and kittens made history. Love you at Doja Cat. Thanks for thinking of me for this moment." What time you showing your boobs? And I know Doja Cat also had said that she said if she was to hit number 1 on the charts, that she was going to show her boobs. You know what I'm saying? But however, she did not do it. She took it back. She said, "Guys, I was only kidding." You know what I'm saying? That's what she said. But however, hey, anything just to make your fans, make your stands and supporters, chart you up to number 1. You know what I'm saying? That's how it goes. That's how everything goes. You know what I'm saying? That's how everything goes. And, these are going to be, songs that, of course, grew on me. Because actually they did grow on me. And the only reason why is because a Savage had to grow on me because it was a TikTok song. You know what I'm saying? And, it became real popular on TikTok. And I was just like, oh God, you know what I'm saying? But however, it did grow on me. And, I like it to be, I guess, a spring summer song in my book. So guys, just like I said, there you have it. And that is going to be my commentary for, Are We Here For It Monday. So now let's get into it. Now, are we here for Kobe Bryant's, Kobe Bryant, post-mortem, helicopter crash, results? Are we here for it, guys? We are definitely not here for that. I know I am definitely not here for it. How they're basically saying that it's, they ruled it out as a blunt force, trauma that tragically, killed, all of them, on all 9 passengers, of course, including Kobe Bryant and his daughter, on that plane crash on, January the 26th of this year. And I just hope and pray that, they will find something that, caused that tragic crash, but right now, they're ruling it as an accident. And once again, my condolences goes out to Kobe Bryant's family and his loved ones and all of the other passengers that passed away, that died tragically on that helicopter crash earlier this year and in January. All right, and now the next topic, Doja Cat. Yes, Doja Cat, Beyonce, Nicki Minaj, and Megan Thee Stallion. Yes, are we here for them charting on the Billboard 100? Yes, are we here for that? Yes, we are definitely here for it. Yes, they are sharing the 1 and 2 spots on the Billboard 100, charting it. And I'm so happy for the ladies. I'm very happy that Doja Cat, earned her spot. She earned her spot. And, a lot of naysayers, were just trying to sweep her under the rug and, always trying to, of course, what they do with every artist try to pin them up against each other, trying to say she's being like that person or whatever. But however, I am happy for the ladies, and I would love to see more from all of them. Hopefully they'll do, a collaboration all together. I would love to see that from these ladies. Yes, I would. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, guys. So now I want to say that I thank you all for tuning in with me for this brief Are We Here For Mondays. And if you enjoyed that episode, yes, guys, if you enjoyed that episode that you just listened to, yes, that brief commentary that you listened to, yo, please leave this sister right here. This sister right here. Leave me that 5-star rating. Yes, guys. Yes, guys. And also, yes, leave me a review. Leave me a review on iTunes or wherever you can leave a review at. Yo, please support me. Support this podcast. If you like all of my episodes or like any of my episodes that you've been listening to. And I also welcome feedback too as well, guys. I would love for you guys just to let me know, what I'm doing, what you like, what you want to hear, stuff like that. And also you can sound off too as well. Say, you know what, Regina, I don't like that shit. Don't ever say that shit ever again. You know what I'm saying? So, come on, guys, don't be afraid. Yes, support a sister. And also, you can also support me by following me on my social media. Yes, follow me on all my social media, guys. Follow me on Instagram at Creative Lips Podcast. Yes, follow me on Creative Lips Podcast on Instagram, guys. Yes, and also follow me on Twitter at Creative Lips Pod, guys. Yes, follow me there because I post stuff there too, guys. Yes, guys. All right. Until next time.
Prophecy upon these bones. Stop like trampoline. Bumble body got on the road. Get down gently. Gently down the stream as I roll. Eyes blink open and I see all my little thoughts in a row.
Forbidden fruits and golden trees ain't so pretty as they seem. Landscape full of greenery ain't so pretty as it seems. Summer flowers, autumn leaves ain't so pretty as it seems. Ain't so pretty as it seems. Forbidden fruits and golden trees ain't so pretty as they seem. Landscape full of greenery.
You are now listening to episode 40 of the Creative Lips Podcast.